Good afternoon, Mr. Arns here again with yet another exciting laboratory experience for you in chemistry. Today we're going to learn how to light the Bunsen burner and to find out where all the materials are that you'll need in order to do this process. Now, chemists use Bunsen burners for many reasons, but probably the most important is for controlled heating of virtually any chemical system. So we can use this Bunsen burner to heat up water. Usually we put that water in a container like a beaker to begin with, but we could theoretically heat any liquid or any solid or any gas, as long as we don't heat things that are flammable. Usually with flammable materials we use other heating sources like a hot plate or maybe a heating mantle, which is kind of like a toaster that's all wrapped up in insulating materials. So today, the Bunsen burner. Now, at each of your lab stations, you know that you have a drawer that you use to find your glassware in. Right next to that drawer, there's a long cabinet that goes almost from the bench top all the way to the floor. And in that cabinet, there's shared equipment that all the people who use the drawers around the outside will share. Out of that cabinet, you'll need to carefully get your Bunsen burner and gas supply tube, your striker, which makes the spark for the Bunsen burner. Please don't do that. I was just demonstrating that it uses up flint material that we need to buy. You'll need your tongs, so that if we want to hold something in the flame, we don't use our fingers, we use our tongs. And you might also want to put on an apron. And there are two aprons in that cabinet for you to use. I always have my lab coat on. And of course you'll want to wear goggles, which you'll find in the goggle cabinet nearby. Everyone must have goggles on. If you want to use an apron, you're welcome to. It's not required. If you're getting ready to use the burner, you should make sure that you don't have any loose-fitting clothing on that might dangle in the flame. In fact, my coat is probably at the limit of what I would consider tight-fitting. I wouldn't want it any looser than this. I don't want it to get in that flame and start a fire. But just make sure you don't have any loose-fitting clothing, and that your hair is pulled back if you have longer hair. So, in order to light the burner, it's quite simple. You take the gas supply tube and you hook it up the main gas valve in the room. There's one at every station. You turn off the gas valve at the burner. It's on the very end of the burner, and you turn it all the way to the right. Righty-tighty, that's off. Now, in order to let gas come through this tube, you turn the valve at the main valve on. That's straight out, so the handle's straight in line with the tube. That's on. Either position pointing to the side is off. So again, turn the main gas valve on. You turn the gas valve at the burner on, just a quarter of a turn to half a turn. A little bit on, that's left, loose. And then you take your striker and make a spark above the burner to start the burner. Oh, like so. And it went out, so I'm going to try it again. There we go. I got a kind of a weak flame there, so I'm going to turn the burner up just a little bit. Open it up a little bit here at the gas valve on the burner. And now start it. Oh my goodness, yeah. Now you might have to adjust the barrel of the burner. I'm just turning it. You might have to adjust that barrel to make your flame the perfect flame. You should hear a little sound coming from the flame when it's just perfect. It kind of does a little, I'll be quiet for a minute so maybe you can hear it. It's got a little humming to it. You should definitely see the inside blue nature of that flame, which is, there's a very light blue internal flame. I'm going to turn it so I can see that a little more clearly. There we go. Now I'm getting it. Oh yeah. Might help if I turn off the lights too. Let me go and turn off the lights and see if that helps us a little. Here we go, that might be easier to see. Now I've got a perfect blue flame there. And in this lab that we did today, I want every person at the lab station to light that burner just like so. So every person's going to get a chance to. After the first person lights it like that, what you do is you turn it off at the main, turn it off at the burner, then the next person comes up. They will turn it on at the main, quarter of a turn to half a turn on at the burner, make your spark, perfect. They turn it off at the main, off at the burner, next person comes up, on at the main, on at the burner, spark. Oh my goodness, it's not lighting. When it does that and it doesn't light, you just need to turn your gas down just a little bit. It's probably because the gas flow is actually putting out the flame. You got to turn on a little too high here at the burner if that happens. If you hear kind of a poof, and then the flame goes out, it's usually because there's too much gas flow. You never do your fine control of the gas from the main. You always do it from the burner down here. So your fine control of the flame is here. This is just mainly on and off. So after the last person's put the flame on with the striker, then it goes off. Now be very careful because this burner is going to be hot right at the top of the barrel. That lower part of the barrel actually you can touch. It's not too hot at all. But up here at the top where that flame's been, it's going to be hot for a while. So don't come in contact with that. Let it cool. Anything that you've heated during a Bunsen burner lab, when you've used the burner, you need to let cool. That means glassware, water, iron rings, stands, other things that we put up to suspend materials above the flames. You've got to let them cool because you know when you heat things, they get hot, and I don't want you to burn yourself. Keep your goggles on through the entire experiment. Now you're going to be instructed to use the tongs to hold small pieces of metal in various places of the flame. The first thing that you're going to be instructed to hold there is your wire gauze. So if you want to take your wire gauze and explore the flame, you'll just take your wire gauze, just flat like so, and put it in the flame at various places to see what happens to that wire gauze. And you'll slowly move it up and down and make observations about what happens in various parts of the flame and write those observations down in your data table. I'm also going to leave you a few pieces of wire to put in the flame of various types of metal, aluminum and copper, and you'll see what those pieces of wire do in the various parts of the flame. And again, very carefully observe that and write that down. You're going to draw a few pictures of the flame too. So again, the Bunsen burner is a very useful instrument. One that you should become familiar with, that you will get familiar with as we use it. And when you're finished with it, all you do is disconnect at the main. After you, of course, turn the main off, it goes right back in the cabinet. And this striker hangs right from the nail, right inside the cabinet, as do the tongs from a nail nearby. There are 3 or 4 nails inside the cabinet, so you won't find any difficulty finding a good place for those materials, just like so, and ready for the next person to come up and work. Well, I'm glad that you're becoming a chemist, and I'm looking forward to good experiments in the future. Thank you.